Assalamu Alaykum everyone. Hey, so yeah, in this video you'll get two greetings. So I've been looking at my vast array of videos, which is only 4, and I've been seeing that a lot of my videos have to do with being in Medina, getting into Medina, but I haven't done any videos regarding people who are not yet in Medina, as in people who have applied but not in yet, people who are about to apply this coming semester, and it does take a couple of months for the acceptance to come in, especially for the visa and all that process to be done. So I want to give some tips to students of knowledge. This can be applied to anybody, whether you're studying in Medina, Egypt, even America, anywhere. They're just some tips that I was told and the tips that I took prior to coming to Medina that I saw to be very beneficial. So let's take a look at some of these tips. So the first tip I want to give you guys is that your intentions really do matter. Now I know we've all heard the hadith, innamal a'malu binniyat, and actions are based on your intentions. We have all heard this hadith many times. And for some people, it's kind of, when you hear this hadith in a khutbah or somebody telling you, you kind of like roll your eyes or say, okay, well, we've heard this 100 times. But the reason why you've heard it so many times is that it is actually really important, and it's something that people don't really put a lot of thought into. Your intentions really matter when it comes to being a student of knowledge and traveling overseas and giving up a lot of your life to studying Islam. Imam Ghazali actually talks about this in his book Bidayatul Hidayah, Beginning of Guidance, which I actually have right here. Let me take a look. Bidayatul Hidayah, which is also in English. It's called The Beginning of Guidance, and I really suggest that you guys take a look at this book, because Ghazali goes down through a lot of tips that a student of knowledge needs to consider when they go on this road, on this journey. And one thing that he mentions in this book, actually the first thing he mentions, is the matter of intentions. And what he talks about is these two groups of people, that one of them, their entire intention for being a student of knowledge, for studying Islam, is surpassing others, being better than others. People can say good things about you and defeat others in debates. And people in this camp, he says, people who will end up not only destroying themselves, but they exchange the life of the hereafter for a good time in this life. And that's kind of the sad reality. If your intentions are solely based on other people, then you won't succeed. I mean, you'll also go to hell, but I guess that doesn't convince a lot of people, so that's besides the point. But you won't end up succeeding, and you'll actually end up hating studying. On a practical sense, forget about hell, forget about all that stuff. Somebody who does something just for the sake of other people, they'll end up resenting it. They'll end up having this hatred towards it. And they'll find it to be very boring and sad when they're just studying and they don't see the results in other people. They don't see that other people are praising them, or they don't see that they're winning in any debates. And then Ghazali contrasts this with a person whose entire goal is to study Islam for the sake of Allah, to have knowledge for themselves, and to spread it to other people through da'wah. And this is the highest and greatest level. Ghazali says that everyone needs to strive for this. Everyone needs to have this intention in mind when going to study Islam. And you'll end up not only having pure happiness in this life, because you have knowledge, and the more knowledge you have, the happier you get, but you'll also succeed in the hereafter, inshallah. If you see that you have a bad intention for studying, that doesn't mean quit. No, that just means you have to change your intentions. Make dua to Allah, that Allah make my intentions pure. If you sincerely make dua to Allah and you sincerely try, your intention will change and you'll see the fruit of it. Not only in this life when you enjoy studying more, but also in the next life, inshallah. The next step I want to tell you guys is that being a student of knowledge doesn't start when you're in Medina, when you're in Cairo, or anywhere. It starts now, as in today. Being a student of knowledge is a way of life. It's not just something that's done when you're at a madrasa, when you're at a university or the masjid. It's a way of life it's how someone conducts themselves. And the analogy I want to give is kind of Islam, because Islam is not just a religion, it's also a way of life. And that means that when you're walking in the streets, when you're with your friends, when you're at school, people go like, oh, he's a Muslim. How he dresses, how he acts, the things he does, the things he does not do. He took Islam as a way of life. And that's the same thing being a student of knowledge. You chose to take this path to study Islam. A student of knowledge doesn't start when you know Quran, doesn't start when you know Arabic. It starts now, today, and it's just a way of life. That's what being a student of knowledge is. A quick side note. A student of knowledge is not someone who, on their free time, just backbites other people. There's so many people, so many students of knowledge. They're all about, you gotta study, you gotta do good, reading books, reading Quran. But on their free time, they're all talking and backbiting about people. A lot of their conversations go like, dude, did you see him? Dude, his pants were totally below his ankles. Yeah, I know. Dude, did you see his beard? It's not even a fist length. Dude, he totally trims. Yeah, dude, totally. Dude, he's totally going to hell. That's how a conversation literally goes with so many students. And there's no benefit to it. Being a student of knowledge isn't talking bad about people's sins. It's concealing people's sins and helping people who have sins fix themselves with the knowledge that you receive. That's a tip I would give to everyone, because everyone backbites everyone, all the Muslims. Tip number 3 is actually more practical, and for anyone who is waiting to get accepted into a college, already is in a college or whatever, one of my biggest tips is learn Arabic and Quran. People always say oh, what should I learn? Should I learn fiqh? Should I learn hadith? Should I learn tafsir? And trust me, just focus on Arabic and Quran. It's that simple. You have to get to a point where you love reading Arabic. You love reading the Quran. You love understanding it, and you have a passion towards it. When I started this journey a couple of years back, truth be told, I found reading the Quran to be a bit of a chore, because I didn't know how to read it, and I was used to not reading it. It wasn't something that I was used to reading Quran every single day. So when I went to a mahad, and we were told every single day we had to read, we had to practice tajweed, how we would pronounce the words properly, and we had to memorize. It was so hard for me. But after a while, it got to the point of when I started understanding the words and what the Quran was saying, I loved memorizing it. It was actually something I really enjoy, because I was able to grasp the knowledge of it. I was able to implement that knowledge in my day-to-day life. So my tip is really learn Arabic. Now, some people are going to say, okay, how do I learn Arabic? Well, down the link below, I put the level 1 Arabic books down below in the description, and there's actually this guy on YouTube. I forgot his name, but I'll put his link down below in the description as well. And he teaches the Arabic books in Medina. And I know some students who are even watching this are probably going somewhere else, but starting anywhere is good. This will help you so much. Once you go overseas, you were able to know Arabic a little bit. You were able to go maybe in the first level of Arabic in Medina or whatever it is, but you know some words, so you're not completely blanked out when in class or trying to get around. Now, in terms of reading Quran, if you can, go to your local masjid, try finding people doing it online where you can read your part of the Quran that you memorize. Now, my suggestion is having a set program every day when you read Quran. I'm not saying 10 pages. I'm saying something small, 5 to 10 minutes of just reading. Forget about memorizing, just reading the Quran, getting involved in the Quran, looking at the meaning, reading in Arabic, and then if you don't understand Arabic, read the meaning. Try to underline some words that you don't understand. This will help you that when you get to it, you have a connection with the Quran. Don't go into it blind. Start reading Quran every day. And when it comes to memorizing, memorize a little bit. Start with the last Juz Amma. Go from Surah Nas till the end of Juz Amma. Then Juz 29. Then 28, then 27, 26. Once you get 26, then go to Surah Al-Baqarah. Start reading it. Start memorizing from there. In the beginning, it's super hard. But you will eventually get to the point where you can memorize a page or two within an hour. My suggestion is start now and try doing little every day. Even if it's 10 minutes a day, even if you memorize one word, doing it every day is better than doing nothing. So that's my suggestion. Another suggestion I want to give you guys is follow the paths of the previous predecessors. What do I mean by this? So many people are so ready to give a fatwa by Sheikh Albani. Bro, Sheikh Albani totally said that is haram. And the other guy is like, no, it is totally halal. And the guy's like, no, Sheikh Albani said so. But then these guys are debating, getting mad at each other for no reason. When the issue is sure, maybe Sheikh Albani said it, maybe somebody else didn't say it, but the reason why Sheikh Albani, Ibn Taymiyyah, Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen has an opinion is because they studied said issue in Islam. They didn't just go oh, well, I saw a YouTube video online that Sheikh Albani totally crushed this guy, totally destroyed this madhab person. He destroyed that person because he studied. That's the point. He sat down and read and listened and gave up a lot of his time in his day to just reading books. If you look at the life of Sheikh Albani, after leaving his house and going off to study by himself, he would just go in the library and just read from the morning, from after he started working, which is only a couple hours in the day, till literally late at night. And it got to the point where the librarians would go, okay, you know what? We'll give you the key. You just open the library and you close the library because you're staying way too late. That is dedication. And that's why Sheikh Albani has the right to say, my opinion is this. The biggest thing is to get from these scholars is to not just get their fatwas. It's to get their examples. That's the important part. Getting how they got to those great points, how they analytically understood something through the text of the Quran, Hadith, other Salaf, other scholars of the past. And there are many YouTube videos talking about these great scholars. Omar Suleiman, for instance, has a series on the 4 Imams, each one being 3 hours long and about their lives. That's a great series to look at. Farad Responds, he actually did a thing about Sheikh Albani, about his life. It was an hour long. That's a great video too. Study the lives of these great people so we can become like them. And also with this, take notes. When you're reading the lives of these people, or when you're reading any book in Islam, take notes. Study. Don't just go okay, I'm just gonna read through, flip through the book, and then throw the book down, and then go all the information is right here. No. The main point is you gotta read, take notes as if you were in a school, if you were in university. Now, I actually did go through university, so I actually learned how to study and how to take notes on a book. So if you guys do want a video on how to study, how to read, how to understand texts, comment down below. And if it's something that you guys are interested in, then I might make a video on it. But that's my suggestion. And the last tip I want to give you guys is make a lot of dua. But making a lot of dua means you make a lot of dua believing that it will be accepted. And I see there's a lot of people, there's so many people that just they get together and they go okay, I'm going to make dua that I'm going to get an A. When they didn't study, when, they know deep down inside they're going to get a D, they're going to just barely pass, but say, you know what, Allah will accept every dua. So I'm going to make a dua for an A. It doesn't work like that. You have to put your own effort into it. There's the hadith of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam when he said, tie your camel and believe in Allah. You have to do both. So what I mean by make a lot of dua is make a lot of dua that either you get into the school, or that you have a pure intention, or that Allah gives you the love of studying. There's a great dua that a lot of people have mentioned, Rabbi zidni ilma, which is Allah, increase my knowledge. And make that dua a lot with the intention of, okay, I know this will be answered, and I know that I have to put in the work. A lot of these other things will fall into place if you make dua and if you put in the effort. Those are my tips, guys. This was not just meant for people who are not in Medina or studying Islam yet and waiting to get accepted. This is for everyone, for myself too. So I hope this was beneficial, and I'll see you guys next time. Assalamu Alaykum.